Back like we never left, family. Next section here, section 5, worship of the Son of God. The Sunday worship deception. They not worshiping the sun, they worshiping the sun. And the sun never said to worship him. Just a little clue there. But we gonna start again with an introduction, because I'm gonna hurt some feelings in this one, I know. But let's try to start this from the top though. But let's try to start this from the top though. 2 Timothy 2 and 15. Study to shew thyself approved unto a hire, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Remember that we are going to not just study, but we are going to rightly divide the word of truth, because I seen brothers study long and study wrong because they're not rightly dividing it. But that's what we're going to do in this one. And we're going to jump one chapter up and one verse up. 2 Timothy 3 and 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of Ahia, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, and for instruction in righteousness. Oh, gee, you don't know everything. You don't know everything, militia. You ain't without sin. I never said I was without sin. Never said I did know everything. Those words, now you will never find that anywhere where I've said that. But I do try my best to walk by these scripture, because what? All scripture is given by the inspiration of the Most High. All of it. Old Testament, New Testament, and Apocrypha. All of it. You know how many books they remove? But we're not going to get into that, family. And why is this important? Luke 15 and 7. I say unto you that likewise joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repenteth, more than over 99 just persons which need no repentance. Now, we all do need repentance because we all fall short. But what that's saying is somebody that has fallen and has been led astray, sometimes unknowingly, because the devil had deceived the whole world. There's not one person walking this earth that hasn't been deceived, man, that hasn't fallen victim to this. Okay? Not one. We all fall short somewhere, many of us. In this particular area, the worship of the sun, this right here. Oh yeah, your boy was once a victim, and I used to fight for it. Oh yeah, I got some testimony to give y'all. But all in all, I want you to hold on to your seat belts, strap into your safety harness, because we gonna get it on, man. Okay? Because this is something that needs to be discussed. This is something that just keeps getting glossed over. This is what, they want you to think is, oh, it's too detailed, that the devil's in the details. What I tell y'all in section 1, the Most High is in the details. The truth is in the details. And sorry to say, you Christians keeping Sunday worship have been deceived. You've been deceived. In Revelation 12 and 9, when it says the serpent, the dragon, has deceived the earth, this is a big part of that deception. And I'm going to break it down. As you're probably looking at this photo here, I got up this cover photo. These pictures here are from, we're not going to say the J Wish, but we're going to call them from this point on JW15H. Because if you spell out if you write W with the 1, 5, and H, it looks like the numerical for wish. You know what I'm saying? So the JW15H, you got the synagogues up there, and you also got Catholic cathedrals up there. So that's what that plethora of pictures you see at the bottom of the screen is, and then you see where the Christian church right there says sun worship. So that's what we're gonna be covering in this. Again, let's get into it. I don't want to waste no more time. Okay, times of day and the day according to the Bible. So you see here, as defined in Genesis, every day is described the exact same. Let's read. I've been through this before, and I got two videos. I got a Sabbath video, and I got a holiday pagan connection video I'm gonna have in the description. There's gonna be a lot of links in this description box. I already got them ready and loaded. Y'all, please go check them out. Genesis 1 and 5. And Ahiah called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and morning were the first day. First day, evening and morning. Check. Genesis 1:8. And Ahiah called the firmament heaven, and the evening and morning were the second day. Evening and morning, second day. Genesis 1 and 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. Genesis 1:19. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Genesis 1:23. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Genesis 1 and 31. And Ahiah saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Is everybody with me, family? Because you would be surprised. I'm going to get on some of you Hebrews as well. You dig what I'm saying? Because some of y'all can't grasp the most simple things that's written in these scriptures. If he says evening and morning is every day, evening and morning was this day, evening and morning, what starts the day? Morning. Man, come on, dog. Come on, man. Get right, man. Hebrew Strong's 317, Yom. The word is day. I'm gonna go down to section D, and I'm gonna show y'all a little bit about this Strong's, okay? I'm gonna show y'all a little bit about how brothers will go to certain sections and read what they want to read. Much like in the dictionary, but the Strong's is a little bit more complex than the dictionary, because you know, as in the dictionary, it can have several definitions for one word. Like, for example, break, B-R-E-A-K. You can look up break and it'll be like, okay, did you break a bone, or did you go on break? So depending on how that word is used in a sentence, you can look and see what a person mean or what they're referring to. Because if I say I'm going on break, I'm not talking about breaking something. If I said I broke something, I'm not talking about taking a space of rest. But see here in section D, because this word is yom and it means day, and in section D it speaks about how day is defined by evening and morning. It says Genesis 1:5, 8, 13, the verses we just read. But I want y'all to read here. It says also Genesis 2:2, Genesis 2 and 3, Exodus 20 and 11. Those are going to be the verses we're going to focus on for right now, okay? And also says Genesis 7 and 17, but we're going to focus on those two at first. Because they want to say, when he's speaking of the Sabbath day or the seventh day, some of these brews, these unlearned brews, at least unlearned in this area, it's not just talking about the daytime. He didn't have to tell you to rest that night, because wasn't nobody working the night shift back then, fellas. Okay? Wasn't nobody working the night shift. He didn't have to tell you to rest that night. Okay? It was already understood. But just to make it plain, we're going to read, because he's talking about evening and morning, as it says, is defined in this verse. So Genesis 2 and 3, and Ahiah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Ahiah created and made. That day in Genesis 2 and 3 is defined as evening and morning, according to the dictionary in the Hebrew Strongs. That's what it's defined as. Let's go to Exodus 20 and 11. For in 6 days, not just the daytime, y'all. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Ahiah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Sabbath day and seventh day are synonymous. Even the Hebrew word for seventh is Shabbat. Sounds like Shabbat because it's the seventh day.
Nice working with you, Mario.
Let's go to Genesis 7 and 17. Speaking of the flood here. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. So when he's talking about those 40 days that it rained, he's not just talking about the daytime, fellas. This is what I'm talking about with context. Because what some of these brothers will run to, I don't have the verse in my notes, but when it says, when Christ said, I forgot the verse exact, I'm paraphrasing, but it says to work during the day because in the night no work can be done. And they'll say, see, he's talking about daytime. Well, yeah, because that's the context of the verse. But there's other verses when it says day, and it's not just talking about daytime, because it's the context of the verse. Like we just read, when he says the flood was 40 days upon the earth, he wasn't just talking about daytime. And it's crazy that I have to break this stuff down, but see, I kind of blame you, bro. I ain't gonna say kinda. I blame you brothers, man. You brothers and sisters, but really the brothers, because you're the leader. So I blame you for teaching this and leading the sheep astray, even when you're being corrected righteously. Now, if you're not being corrected, maybe you ran into this. I mean, I'm not condemning anybody, but I'm talking about brothers that constantly over and over and over keep pushing this, and see brothers like myself, sisters that's speaking as myself, that's telling you, man, hey, bro, you off here, man. Nah, man, that's not, you're not reading that in context. But we're going to get into context. That's a very important thing for all believers. So let's get back into it. So there's verses where it talks about the daytime. You see, it's the same word, yom, and it says in section 1, day opposed to night, Genesis 7, 14, and 12. So we just read 7 and 17, talks about 40 days when it's talking about the evening and the morning. So let's go to 7, 12, and actually we're going to go to 13. 14 is the context of what it's talking about. But let's go, and also to Genesis 8 and 22. Genesis 7 and 12 and 13. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the self same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. So it's saying in that self same day, and sentence before that says 40 days and 40 nights, because it separated the days from the nighttime, or the daytime from the nighttime in that verse. It broke down that those 40 days it spoke of in verse 17 is talking about both night and day. Let's go to Genesis 8 and 22. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. What is he talking about here? He's talking about after the flood. He was saying that the seasons won't cease and that the day and night won't cease. And he's talking about the daytime and the nighttime. As you see, he separated it there. Let's just go to Genesis 9, 12 through 13, just to get more clarification of what he's speaking of in Genesis 8, 22. And Ahiah said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. So that rainbow is not a symbol of the LGBT originally. They took a symbol that he placed in the clouds to say he's not going to flood the earth anymore as a whole. Because you do have some atheists and fools that will say, oh, well, didn't this country flood last year, or didn't it flood over here last month? He's talking about flood as a whole. He's talking about a deluge, which that's what it's called. And just for the other naysayers out there, the Bible ain't the only book that records the flood. The ancient Egyptians recorded the flood. The ancient Persians have a story about the flood. The ancient Chinese have a story about the flood. You won't find an ancient culture in the world they had a story about the flood. And not to mention that there's been archaeologists and people that studied the earth that can see that there was a flood on the earth. This isn't just biblical, okay? These things happen. And this is why we have to understand prophecy. Yes, some stuff is a metaphor. Yes, some stuff is a simile. But some stuff is actually going to happen realistically in time. This is where discernment comes in and rightfully dividing what? The word of truth. But if you don't know the word, how you gonna know how to divide it? So let's get into time prophecy precepts where it speaks of this time that we're talking about. Daniel 8:26. And the vision of the evening and morning which was told is true. Therefore shut up the vision, and it shall be for many days. Now I want to take a stop right here, because what does he say here? Evening and morning. The vision of the what? The evening and the morning. What? How did he create it in creation? See, the Most High is about order. The earth was dark before he said, "Let there be light." That's when he said, "Let evening and morning were the first day." There was darkness first. Out of darkness comes light. That's why if you go to genetics, as I explained in the Edom video with the phenotype, that black people have the genes to make all people on earth. That's why it says even black women have the Eve gene. No other race has that. But we're going to keep it moving, because I actually want to show this video real quick of this Bible from 1813. Some say it's from 1831. But let's just look at what it says regarding the days. If you wonder why the earth is going crazy, if you wonder why all these things seem to be out of order, there's a bunch of what they call Babylon confusion. So y'all check this video out and see if it doesn't make any sense.
This Bible from 1813 has something very interesting. It is a facts page that contains a list of people and events in chronological order. It says, whereupon we reckon that from Adam unto Christ are 3,947 years, 6 months and 10 days. And from the birth of Christ to this present year is 1814 years. Then the whole sum and number of years, from the beginning of the world unto this present year is 5,788, 6 months, and the said odd 10 days. In the year 1814 the world really was 5,788 years old. This year, 2022, the earth would be approximately 5,998 years old.
Did y'all see that, family? And there's a precept that says, and I'm going to post it here, but the paraphrase is basically saying that a day to the Most High is as 1,000 years. And this is something I'm still looking into. I'm not saying this is edged in stone, but I'm going to say I haven't seen anything really that can debunk this, that's saying that this is a lie. I've seen this from many sources. Very, very interesting. Shout out to my bro Shy who sent that to me. Very interesting. But yeah, I haven't seen nothing to debunk it, man, and it seems more true than not. So want to throw that at you. But this is why it's important to know the days and times we living in, because if each day is 1,000 years to the Most High, we in day 6, and I find it funny that he created Adam in day 6, and he says he's going to shorten the day, so I don't think it's going to be 7,000 years when Yahshua returns. because it says he's going to shorten those days, because if he didn't, there would be no flesh saved. Which I'm going to get into that in the next couple verses. But in the year, or I should say the day, the sixth day when he created Adam, which I think these are literal days in Genesis. Some people say Genesis talking about 1,000 years. I don't think so. But as far as the length of time being 6,000 years, being that be one day to the Most High, that I find it funny that they're pushing all this AI, this mixing of iron and clay, to make us live forever. This stuff in these movies, y'all, and I'm gonna get back on task, but I'm trying to talk to y'all about the prophecy, why it's important to know about the days and things of that nature, because you gotta understand what time we in. And when you see these movies and things that they have, they're showing more truth than fiction in them. They're actually subliminally programming you that when it is introduced, you'll already subconsciously be ready for it. You know, like RoboCop, Fifth Element. If you look at the cops in these movies, Judge Dredd, which I have a section where I'm going to go more into that, but I just want to sprinkle a little bit into your conscience. So let's get to Daniel 10 and 14. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. So he's getting, what days is he talking about? He's talking about the latter days. Okay, the vision of what? The evening and the morning. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Daniel understood that from the Most High, from creation, how he created the order. At some point in time, there's going to be a different order instituted by man. I'm going to keep reading though. Mark 13 and 20. And except that the Most High had shortened those days, no flesh should be slaved, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he had chosen, he hath shortened the days. He's going to shorten the days for the children of Israel. That's what he's saying there. That's who the elect is. Talking about the children of Israel, the real children of Israel. Let's get to John 2 and 19, getting back into what this term day means. We're going to get to the Greek now. But it says, John 2 and 19, Yasha answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. He's not just talking about daytime there, gentlemen and ladies. Do y'all understand what we're saying now? If you don't understand the concept of evening and morning being each day, you're going to be lost when it comes to other concepts in the Bible. When it's talking about the latter days, when it's talking about days of the tribulation, when it's talking about different things that have to involve with time, because you can't even grasp on the fact that evening and morning was each day. Because we've been taught here in this Western Babylonian society that the sun is the ruler of everything. I'm going to get more into the spiritual side of it in just a second. Let's get to Matthew 24 and 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man be. So as it was in Noah's time, when it speaks of days, speaking of that time, it's going to be the same way when Yahshua returns. It wasn't just a few people going off in Noah's days. It was everybody. With the exception of 8 people, the Most High destroyed the entire world. So let's get the Greek strong 2250, Hemera. It means day. And you see here in section 2, it says of the civil day are the space of 24 hours. See the verses there, Matthew 6:34. It got verses in Mark and Luke, but it's talking about a space of 24 hours, just like Yom, evening and morning. It's the same as this space of 24 hours. Even in section 4 here, it says by a Hebraistic usage, though one not entirely unknown to Greek writers. It says it is used of time in general. So that's Matthew 24 and 37, which I just read, where it says, as the days of Noah were. So it's talking about the time. So again, this is just showing that you have to read it in context when it's talking about day. It's talking about day as in the daytime. It's talking about day as in the 24-hour period, aka evening and morning. Is it talking about days or day as in, the time in general? What is it speaking of? So this is why I'm going to show this. I have a post on this. The link will be in the description box. These are the times of day according to the Most High. When the daytime ends, the new day begins. I didn't say that. These brothers out here didn't say that. The JW15H of H people didn't say that. The Most High said that. And just to go even a step further with that, I'm going to get more to the calendar situation as well. But the 7-day week and the 12-month cycle is biblical. Yes, the people ruling changed it. The people have changed it all over time. I've done a lot of research into this. I'm actually going to have my calendar video also in the bottom of this video in the description box. But they've done this for years and years and years and years, where and empire after empire. Well, they tried to change things. But one thing man can't change or control is the sun, the moon, and the seasons. Okay? But we're going to get more into that. But the 7-day week isn't pagan, and the 12-month cycle isn't pagan. Now, taking from that and adding to it, that has been done by the pagans. But the time itself, pagans have no control over time. Man has no control over time. That's controlled by the Most High. Let's get it. Esther 9 and 1. Now, in the 12th month, you'll never find a verse that says 13th month. If you do, please comment below, and I will do a refraction of all of this. But there's no 13th month according to scripture. It says, now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Israelites hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Israelites had rule over them that hated them. So this is a precept of Purim. It's a 2-day gift-giving festival of the Israelites, our people, where we gave gifts because it was written into the king's decree back in Persia that our people were to be destroyed, and basically they were going to do a purge on us. Not just a purge on anybody, but a purge on us out of their city. Luckily, Queen Esther, Black Queen Esther, beautiful sister, got married to the king, was chosen by the king, and the king, the king, as upon seeing that Esther was a Benjamin, one of the southern tribes, and that she was concerned about her people, she didn't get up there and start cooning and, oh, I'm good. Get y'all can fend for yourself, because that's what these leaders of today do. These black token leaders, yeah, they get in them high positions and they don't say a word about us. So don't be putting no Kamala Harris next to her, even though she ain't even black, but that's another time. But yeah, and this happened in the 12th month. This happened in the 12th month. So when they thought they were going to purge us out, she, spoke with the king. The king wrote that, because he couldn't outright the purge, because back then, if a king said something, put a seal on it, it was law. It had to be followed. And if it wasn't followed, the punishment had to be enacted. Just like Daniel being thrown into the fire with his 3 brothers, Shadrach, Benshak, Abednego, with the lions, Daniel getting thrown to the lions. That stuff was written, and the king couldn't go back on his word. But the king did allow us to protect ourselves in Esther's day, and we have rule over our enemies, as we will in the end days, when that time comes, family. When that time comes. So let's get to, speaking of times, Jubilees 6 and 32. And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. That's 364 days, family. That's 52 Sabbaths a year. That's 52 Shabbats. And these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feast. So on some of those days, they're high holy days, they're holy days, there's Sabbaths, there's regular days. But it's the same day according to that calendar. Okay? Because I'm gonna get into how our calendar is not correct that we follow in this earth. Okay, that doesn't mean that the 7th day is pagan. I'm gonna get more into that, and that doesn't mean that 12 months has to do with anything pagan. I'm gonna get more into that as well. But it says everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day or disturb any feast. So the Most High wants us to keep His feast. If you read through Second Kings, he talks about part of returning to Him is giving is us return to the days that He gave us as well. You gotta understand that not a jot or tittle was removed from the law, and even for those Gentiles that were among us, they gotta keep. There's one rule for those that were homeborn, that were Israelite, and the same rule for those that were sojourners. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you, like I said, you can go through the law. There were certain things that they couldn't do, of course, that we could do. They weren't allowed in the inner temple and all that. However, they were to keep the same feast that we keep. Even in Isaiah 60, when Yasha returns, it speaks of whoever doesn't come up to Jerusalem for tabernacles is going to deal with some punishment. So the Most High's not playing. When Yasha come back, he gonna show many he ain't playing. So let's get to the Sunday worship, the Roman Catholic confusion of Babylon. So this is the Sunday worship and how the Roman Catholics have confused the world that we live in through the power of the evil one. So divisions of day and night in ancient Rome. The day began at sunrise. I'm gonna read that again for you brothers in the back. For you Hebrew brothers, you Israelite brothers that seem to believe that the Most High said the day began at sunrise. No, the Most High said the daytime began at sunrise. But the day, when the day ends, evening and morning were each day. So evening began the next day, according to the Most High. But I'm going to read that again. Turn your speakers up. Divisions of day and night in ancient Rome. The day began at sunrise. This was preceded about 30 minutes of twilight that followed the first light. The third generation grammarian Censorinus discusses the structure of the day in his DEITIES 238 CE and distinguishes the natural day from sunrise to sunset. That was a Roman thing, man, because their God is the sun, y'all. That's what started the sun. Is the beginning of the day, the entire day. That's what started it. This is a reason why they say wake up and eat, break fast, because you start your fast in the evening. You eat that last meal at sunset, then the evening comes and you're fasting, and you fast until the next even. But when brothers or sisters couldn't make it or decided to break that fast, what did they do? They would do it at break fast. Just peep game. Just peep game. And distinguishes the natural day from the civil day. So the civil day was from midnight to midnight. The names he denotes for the divisions of the day are media nox midnight and media noxe noxte, or something. I can't pronounce that, but it says past midnight. They judge it from high noon and midnight. Let me put it like that. They judge it from high noon to midnight, if that makes sense. That makes more sense. Okay? Because they deal with a whole different time frame than the Most High set up. So let's get to the Gregorian calendar deception. So the JW15H, false Sabbath Saturday. Because day of rest isn't Saturday per se. It's actually Friday even to Saturday even, because each day was even in morning. So after the 6th day even in morning, which morning represents daytime, on the 6th day after that daytime and the sun goes down, that begins your Sabbath. And you keep that Sabbath until the next even. If you look at the feast days, Passover, the Day of Atonement, they all begin at Passover, the Day of Atonement, the Sabbath, and Nehemiah 13 and 21. That chapter 13, he speaks about as you know, before the gates begin to darken, they would close the gates because there was no buying or selling. Why would he do that? Because the evening began the next day. Okay, according to Genesis, evening and morning were each day. This isn't, brothers be acting like we just pulling this out of the air, like we're trying to start something new. No, we're trying to bring you back to what's old. Okay, so let's get to it. Second Kings, because people will ask this as well before I start reading. They'll say, well, I looked on some sites and or I've worked with some JW15H people and they keep Saturday and you keep Saturday. So really you're following the white man and blah, 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 so on and so forth. Well, I think I've proven enough on this channel to show that we're not following the white man. The white man is actually following in error what he stole from our forefathers, which is why you see the brother Kanye to the going through what he's going through. But I'm going to show you that this is nothing new. This is many people are hearing this for the first time, but there have been brothers and sisters that have read the scripts, understood who we are. There were people in slavery who understood what I'm speaking to you. Brothers like Nat Turner, brothers that was running with Marcus Garvey. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. They found stones where brothers was etching Hebrew words on and found stones in Puerto Rico and Mexico and Arizona and New Mexico with these tribal people, and they had these stones in Hebrew. This is nothing new, y'all. That's what I need you to really understand it. Speaking of the times. So this is how it happened on times of old. Verse 24, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutha and from Ava and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Most High. Therefore Ahiah sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Family, family, family. I was hit with a revelation today. This right here, verse 25, where the lions were sent among them. This is a precept of what's going to happen in the future. What they call what's that word that they use when they when something happens in a movie? A pretense. Let's get to some precepts. Because the son of the Most High, the actual son of the Most High, not the sun in the heavens, as far as the thing that lights up the daytime, but the son, the Messiah, actually spoke about this. Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. Captive is slavery. So who fell by the sword and was led captive all across the world? And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Those are Gentiles over there. Excuse me. Those are Gentiles over there, family. You look at Shlomo saying, there's some of them that have come out and said, yeah, we are. All you got to do is research King Bulan 740 AD, and it'll speak exactly what I'm telling you right here. They know. Matter of fact, when they took over the land, now I'm gonna put the cart before the horse. I'm still going on this, but when they took over the land, they had to actually go to Africa and go to different countries in Africa and get priests to show them things that were in the Bible. And yeah, I think if they're the chosen and this and that, why are they doing that? And this stuff isn't anti-Semitic. This stuff is historical. This stuff is on record. And the word, it shouldn't really be Semitic anyway. It should be Shemitic because it's from Shem. We're from Shem. But that is another story, another time. I've went over that. We're gonna get more into what the prophecy of the times of that land is. So let's go to Acts 1 and 11, which also say, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yasha, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So, like it says in the Old Testament, who has ascended into heaven but the Son of Man? This may be another kick in the pants for some of you believers. When people die, they don't go to heaven. Nobody goes to heaven. That's why it says, who has been ascended to heaven except for the Son of Man? Talking about the Messiah. You either go to Abraham's bosom, which is a place of peace, a place of great comfort that people speak of in these NDEs, or you go to Hades, which is hell's holding place for those that are deemed to go there and are destined for the lake of fire, which people also say that they've experienced in NDEs. I got a video on that as well. Okay, about the afterlife. Please go check it out, man. Go check it out. I got a lot of information on here. Y'all know I'm about to hit 100 videos on this thing. Like, I'm not doing this for my help. I'm trying to show y'all what it is, the truth that they've been hiding from you. So back to the verse, they're basically asking him, why you gazing up? And the way he was taken from you up into heaven, he's going to come back. So let's get to the Old Testament prophecy of that. Yeah, it was said in the Old Testament. Isaiah 63, 1 through 6. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Mighty to save, that word save is Yasha. That's the name of the Messiah, who the world calls Christ. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? So basically, this is a vision of Isaiah saying this person is mighty to save, and his garments look like he'd been treading in the wine fat. Just to let you know, it said he came from Edom, because Edom is just south of the area that the children of Israel were to occupy. But of course, they were led away captive by the sword. So when he comes from Edom, it looks like he's been treading wine fat. And that's the old saying for your garments are dyed red. It said, I have trodden the wine press alone. So that means he's coming back on a killing spree. I have trodden the wine press alone, and of the people there was none with me. So all these politicians and people that people are looking up to, Yasha's saying, ain't none with him. That's why he has the crown. The crown is a symbol of authority, of rulership. He's not sharing no crown with none of these presidents. Not Obama, not Trump, not Biden, not Putin, none of them African presidents, Kunjal, whatever his name is. For I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. He's coming back for a bloodbath, man. Isaiah 63 and 4. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Who's the Redeemer? And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk. Babylon drunk off the wine of Babylon, mystery Babylon. This is a future thing. This is a future prophecy. Make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. Going down, they're dying. This is why when you see videos and things like Independence Day and Armageddon, especially when there's like an asteroid or a rock that's coming out from outer space, and it's going to destroy the earth, that's actually a mockery of Christ or the Messiah Yasha. Let's go to Daniel 2:34, because this is another precept of what Isaiah was talking about. It says, "Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces." So that image is talking about the image of the world empire. You know, you had the gold head that was Babylon. Then you got the Greece that was the breastplate of silver. You know, then you got the bronze. I mean, excuse me, not Greece, Persian, the breastplate of silver. Then you got the bronze. You know, belly and thighs. That was Greece. Then the mystery empire, the fourth kingdom, which is Rome, Babylon, the UN. That's the clay and the iron. So as you go lower and lower, each kingdom is less and less. But the iron and the clay was about strong kingdoms and weak kingdoms. That's why you'll have a rich European nation and a poor African nation. You'll have a rich Chinese nation, then you'll turn around and you'll have a poor South American nation, because all the resources are being sucked into just certain people in certain areas. So that's why you got the iron for the strong and rich and the clay for the poor. There's written more of that in Daniel. But this is just showing that, and you know, understanding the times and the days and what's to come is very important, family. So getting back to Second Kings now. So I was just showing that that lion that was coming and and slaying the people in Second Kings 17, that lion's coming back. His name is Yeshua Hamashiach, the son of Ahiah. Verse 26, wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Most High, or the power of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them. Oh, it's going to happen again, as we just read. Because they know not the manner of the power of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the power of the land, or the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Ahiah. So this priest came back and showed them how to keep Sabbath, showed them how to do certain things. Now it goes on in 2 Kings that they did it, but they did it in vain, but they did it enough to where the Most High didn't send lions among them. They had enough respect just to make the rent. If you living enough for the city, if you can understand that, family. All right, so let's keep it moving. JW15 Sabbath practices. So this is talking about some of their practices. They say, oh, they'll keep the day. Well, that's how they learn. They took one of us, just like I said, and when they took the guy from Africa, that was something recent. I believe that was within the past few hundred years. I'm not sure exactly when, but yeah, they went to Africa, found a priest the same way as I showed y'all on documentaries where they found the Limba tribe. So they know who was the original, y'all. These people ain't stupid. The masses may be a little ignorant, but these people that's running it ain't stupid, y'all. But this is some of their practices that directly contradict scripture, okay? So you can't make a square peg fit in a round hole, y'all. It says one of their things, lighting Shabbat candles is rabbinically mandated law. Candle lighting is traditionally done by the woman of the household, but in absence of a woman, it is done by a man. Now you can light a candle or a fire before the Sabbath begins if you have a fireplace or whatever. You can do that, but it's not a law. It's not a law. Okay? I didn't see where it was a law you had to do that. Because some people will say, well, in the past, they lit fires in the evening before so that they could warm up their food. That's exactly true. But what if you're dealing with a brother that's a vegan? What is it? He might not have to warm up anything. He might just have some grapes or some tomatoes and, you know, watermelon or something. What wasn't it? It's not a law. But let's keep it going, because this is where they add to and take away from. It says Shabbat ends at halakhic nightfall, which is heralded by the appearance of 3 medium-sized stars. That also, the lie detector has determined that is a lie. We just go sundown to sundown. We ain't looking for stars. What if it's cloudy? You dig what I'm saying? What if you living in a smoggy city and it's cloudy? We're not supposed to be dealing with no stars. But see, this goes back into these Roman, because that's who they are. They're actually Romans. They worship the elements. They worship the creation, not the creator. So I got, when is the Shabbat over? I got that from TorahMusings.com. Again, all these things gonna be in the description box. It says, this is another one. Food placed on the blech for Shabbat must be at least 1/3 or preferably 1/2 cooked. All salt, spices, and liquid must be added before Shabbat begins. No. You half cook something? You 1/3 cook something? Nah. So that means on the Sabbath you got to cook the rest. Now you can heat up food, but you're not supposed to be cooking. I know sometimes, you know, we forget or we got busy jobs. We might get off Friday at 8, 9 o'clock, and you ain't had time to go grocery shopping. There's grace there. I'm not gonna. The Most High is not a robot. Like, that's why Yasha said, if your sheep was to fall into a ditch, you would help it out. You would help it out of the ditch, right? That's technically work, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, there's grace there. But if you can prepare, you're supposed to prepare the food, wrap it up so that the next day you just warm it up. Ain't no 1/3 cooking and all that. Let's read. So y'all ain't saying, I'm just saying this. These are their practices on Sabbath, though. That's your man, like what they say on Belly. That's your man's. That's your man.
Crazy, man. And this stupid knowledge, man. As soon as he gets knocked, calls my crib from out there, man. What the is wrong with this nigga? That's your man. That's your man.
Exodus 16, 5 and 22. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they gather twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. So they did twice as much. It didn't say 1/3, heat it up. You just do twice as much. You eating a burger, make one for tomorrow, heat it up. Okay, it says, this is another another one, and this is where it gets into the confusing part. This is why we got to stick to the scripts, because a lot of you brews too. You see, I thought I was gonna get on the Christian church. Nah, nigga, I'm watching y'all too. Y'all be going off with this too. Y'all following this lunar calendar, man. It's not biblical. Like I said before, and 1,000 times, I'll probably say it again. 240 times when it said new moon, the word was actually new month. Okay? Shadash or Chodesh. It's talking about month, not moon. The calendar year features 12 lunar months of 29 or 30 days with an intercalary lunar month added periodically. So with the, I guess I'm not sure what that word means, but I guess they interchange a lunar month and it adds periodically to synchronize the 12 lunar cycles with the solar year. These extra months are added 7 times every 19 years. Why do they add 30 days? Because they have to match the 364-day calendar. But what they're doing is adding to and taking away from. That's why the Most High says, if you add to this word or you take away from it, you're going to be found a liar. Who is the father of lies, man? I know them who say that they are J, but they are the synagogue of Satan, Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9. They are liars. Let these people lie to you, man. So you see this. This is, and like I say, man, you act like I'm making this up. This is from lunar calendar. This is from Yale University. How many people you know went to Yale? This is what it says, and this is another one, the JW15H. Yeah, I'm ducking them YouTube sisters too. Yeah, all that. But yeah, their new year begins in fall, man. How crazy is that? Their new year begins in September. How, Sway? Don't New Year's begin when things are new? Even the pagans understand to some point that the new year begins when things are new. This is why they do the Easter or the Ishtar celebration with plants and whatnot. That's where that whole thing comes from. But yeah, this is the whole thing that they're wrong on. And this says is also here in the book of Jubilees 6 and 36. For there will be those who assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon. This is what they're doing. They're observing the moon and it comes in 10 days too soon, year for year. That's why they keep having to add extra months. Do you get it, family? Let's get back to it. So the Muslims or the Muslims, Islam, they celebrate their Sabbath or Shabbat on Friday. Okay? They celebrate theirs on Friday, y'all. So, also known as the Friday player, and excuse my pronunciation, Jumu'ah is a congregational prayer, Salat, held every Friday, the day of assembly, just after midday. In place of the otherwise daily Duhur prayer, it commemorates the creation of Adam on the sixth day, so at least they recognize Friday is the sixth day. At least they recognize that. Why can't some of you brothers in this truth recognize that? But it says as a loving gathering of Adam's sons. So they deal with Friday, and this isn't nothing I'm making up, y'all. One thing that just kind of, I don't know, grinds my gears, as Peter Griffin would say, y'all making that up. What? Niggas trip. Many Muslim countries such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Bangladesh do consider Friday a non-work day, a holiday, or a weekend. And other Muslim countries like Pakistan count it as a half rest day after the Friday prayer is over. Jumu'ah attendance is strictly incumbent upon all free adult males who are legal residents of the locality. And I know that stuff varies from country to country, but I'm just showing you the information I found on it. The Hijri calendar, also known in English as the Muslim calendar and Islamic calendar, is a lunar calendar consisting of 12 lunar months in a year, 354 or 355 days. What did the Most High say on Jubilees? Each year is 364 days, 52 Sabbaths. And I got the, I'm going to have the description. It's the beginning of the Hijri calendar, book written by Brother Paul Lunde. That's going to be in the description box. So they do Friday. And this is from the Quran. I'm not asking anybody to follow this. I'm just reading it so that brothers could understand that I'm not making this up. This isn't something I just heard on the street. This isn't no plebiscite babbling. I'm showing you what it is. It says, believers, when the call to prayer is made on the day of congregation, Friday, hurry towards the reminder of God and leave off your trading. That is better for you if only you knew. Then when the prayer has ended, disperse in the land and seek out God's bounty. Remember God often so that you may prosper. And you see there the chapter and the verses. So this is what I have a site here, Ask a Muslim, Friday Sabbath. So they keeping Friday. The JW15H people are keeping Saturday, but in error. And lastly, we're going to get into the Christians that are keeping Sunday. So they'll be like, oh, well, what are you saying? You know, those are Abrahamic religions. Abraham didn't have a religion. What religion was Abraham? Judaism didn't exist when Abraham was walking the earth. None of these things existed when Abraham was walking the earth. What they did was take from the law, statutes, and commandments and history and the scrolls that Abraham was following, and they created their own thing. They, no, take that out. No, we'll do this. No, we'll take that out. No, we'll do this. And they made their own thing. That's a concise explanation of it, but that's what happened. Okay, so now we're going to get into the Christian quote unquote Sabbath of Sunday. So I've been through this a million times too, but the Sunday law was officially confirmed by the Roman papacy. The Council of Laodicea in AD 364 decreed Christians shall not Judaize and be idle on Saturday. So it's funny. This is why I say there's a difference between the modern day Christian and the pre-Constantine Christian. And it's funny they did that on 364 AD because 364 is the number of days that's in the actual Hebraic year. Huh? So, but they went ahead and they decided to change the this is what they wrote. So they knew it was Saturday and they changed it to Sunday. And the pre-Constantine Christians were actually following what the word said. They were keeping the feast days, all of that. The proselytes, everybody. It was understood. So when they created Christianity, they implemented all of their paganisms into it. Because you got to understand, there were Christians before what we know as Christianity. You got to think about Krishna. You got to think about, I believe, what is it? Helios Christos. It was a Roman deity, bearded white guy, looked a lot like the false Jesus. So they basically merged a lot of that paganism, Eastern hippie philosophy with the Romans and merged that right into what is grown into Christianity today. This is why I say I'm not trying to bash Christians. That's not my goal here. But the practices of the Christian church are absolutely in error. Not so saith me, so saith the word. It's the truth. So this is from Who Changed the Sabbath to Sunday. And when brothers, you know, when they question, because we all kind of question when we get to reading and following what we're supposed to follow in this walk. And brothers will come up to me and question, man, can we be sure that it's, you know, Friday even and you know, to Saturday daytime and then Saturday evening it's over? Can we be sure? And I tell these brothers, once I show them this stuff, I'm like, brother, because they're like, it could be this day, it could be that day. And I got my maps and everything where I calculated it. Like when brothers, I'm not maps, excuse me, my calendar where I calculated things. And I'm not sure, I'm not scared to take the Pepsi challenge with anybody. Not that I'm trying to challenge or anything like that, but I show my work. I show where I got this stuff from. I show the links and the scriptures and the Hebrew breakdown. I'm not hiding nothing. You talking about transparent. You should be able to see through me. You dig? And see everything within. Because I want you to see what the Most High has showed me. For those that can see. Because some people can't see. Sad to say. But that's not, I'm not here to judge if you can or can't. I'm here to give you this proof, give you this truth. So the thing about, I tell these brothers, and this is something that they can't argue with, is two things. When you ask somebody what's the first day of the week, no matter who they are, they know it's Sunday. You can look at a calendar and see that. Even in the Bible, the first day of the week was Sunday. The Most High didn't say to worship on the first day of the week. And number two is, what nation do you know that has forsaken their God or their power as we have forsaken ours? Those nations, like I said in the last video, you ladies, you go into those nail salons, nail shops, those Asians got that Buddha with the incense burning in the back. They ain't never gonna change. Okay? They never gonna change. You go to some of these Middle Eastern gypsies with these mood stones, and they ain't never gonna change. What make you think the Roman changed from worshiping the sun? You can look through it. I'm gonna show some things here. It's like I'm showing you with this this cover photo, they never stopped worshiping the sun. They never did. They just took our story and put the sun in it. Their son. So Jeremiah 2:11, hath the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which does not profit. So when you take on these people and their pagan practices, that doesn't profit you. So I'm gonna show this video, and I showed this video to a family member, and they were just hot, and it seemed like it just went downhill from there. But they asked me, and I showed them. Catholic Church said that they did it, not just in writing, on video. Recently. Go figure. Check it out.
I have repeatedly offered $1,000 to anyone who can prove to me from the Bible alone that I am bound to keep Sunday holy. There is no such law in the Bible. It is a law of the Holy Catholic Church alone. The Bible says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The Catholic Church says, no, by my divine power I abolish the Sabbath day and command you to keep holy the first day of the week. And lo, the entire civilized world bows down in reverent obedience to the command of the Holy Catholic Church. T. N. Wright, CSSR, in a lecture at Hartford, Kansas, February 18th, 1884. The Catholic Church for over 1,000 years before the existence of a Protestant, by virtue of her divine mission, changed the day from Saturday to Sunday. The Catholic Mirror, September 23rd, 1893. Question: which is the Sabbath day? Answer: Saturday is the Sabbath day. Question: why do we observe Sunday instead of Saturday? Answer: we observe Sunday instead of Saturday because the Catholic Church in the Council of Laodicea, AD 336, transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday. Peter Geierman, The Convert's Catechism of Catholic Doctrine, 2nd edition, 1910, page 50. Question: have you any other way of proving that the Church has power to institute festivals of precept? Answer: had she not such power, she could not have done that in which all modern religionists agree with her. She could not have substituted the observance of Sunday, the first day of the week, for the observance of Saturday, the seventh day, a change for which there is no scriptural authority. Stephen Keenan, A Doctrinal Catechism, page 174. There is but one church on the face of the earth which has the power, or claims power, to make laws binding on the conscience, binding before God, binding under penalty of hellfire. For instance, the institution of Sunday. What right has any other church to keep this day? You answer by virtue of the third commandment. The papacy changed the fourth commandment and called it the third, which says, remember that thou keep holy the Sabbath day. But Sunday is not the Sabbath. Any schoolboy knows that. Sunday is the first day of the week. I have repeatedly offered $1,000 to anyone who will prove by the Bible alone that Sunday is the day we are bound to keep. And no one has called for the money. It was the Holy Catholic Church that changed the day of rest from Saturday, the seventh day, to Sunday, the first day of the week. T. N. Wright, CSSR, in a lecture delivered in 1893.
So this fulfills the prophecy, y'all. Deuteronomy 28:64, and Ahiah shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, either wood and stone. Abraham didn't know nothing about no wooden cross or no Mecca Kaaba stone. We weren't worshiping that. The wood is the wooden cross, and the stone is the Kaaba stone of Mecca. We aren't to worship any of these symbols. We're to, what did Yasha say when they said, how do you pray? Our Father. He was telling us who to pray to. We just pray in his name because he's a sacrifice. But other than that, we don't worship what he died on. That's a great deception. It's another section though. Deuteronomy 4:27-28. And the highest shall scatter you among the nation, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Most High shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods, the works of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. Let's move to the next verse. Ezekiel 8:16. And he brought me into the inner court of the Most High's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of Ahiah, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men with their backs toward the temple of Ahiah, and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun toward the east. That's what you're worshiping. Tammuz toward the sun. Yes, indeed. That's what that T stands for, by the way. That's Tammuz, man. Because Yahshua was hung on a tree. That's why it says that the crucifixion was about a stake. So that cross he was carrying a stake. They made the slaves do this. And the stake, they put the stake on the tree and hung him on the tree. That's why in Galatians 3:13 it says our Savior was hung on a tree, y'all. An upright stake. And they put him on that stake. With that beam he was carrying. It's called a cross beam. But it wasn't an object to be worshipped, y'all. So, yeah. Sunday got you worshiping the sun. So look, it came from the Roman Catholic Church. So I don't want anybody of the Christian faith getting mad at me. You see, I'm showing the truth from the word, and I'm showing how we've been lied to by different religions, different teachers, so on and so forth. These institutions we were told to trust. You're supposed to put your trust in the Most High. So if you have a problem, you need to take it up with him. Okay? I'm just trying to show you the truth. And the best thing that you can do is look into it. Don't just believe me. Look into it. So we're going to get into the bewitching hour or the witching hour, okay? In folklore, the witching hour or the devil's hour is a time of night that is associated with supernatural events whereby witches, demons, and ghosts are thought to appear and be at their most powerful. Definitions vary and include the hour immediately after midnight and the time between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. So I've actually heard that from a witch, and I get into this truth years and years later, and I look at it and I'm like, dang, that makes sense, because between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m., I would say midnight and 3, really like the worst time where the worst things happen. That's when you worry about people. That's when the club letting out, people coming out drunk, high, people, robbers on the prowl. So check this out. Speaking of these folly days, Christmas and crime, don't be a statistic. It says this troubling fact is detailed in the Bureau of Crime Statistics and Research 9 p.m. and midnight, and early on New Year's Day between midnight and 3 a.m. That's where the crime spikes. Christmas and New Year's. That's why I say ain't no Christmas spirit in the scriptures, y'all. It ain't one. So New Year's is also just Janus. That's where the word January comes from. It's the god of beginning, the two-faced god. Um, I think it's the Gemini symbol, the same thing. All that stuff is pagan, man. All that stuff is pagan. Has nothing to do with your personality. It's pagan. So, sunrise of the sun god. The meaning of the epithet indiges here applied to the sun is ambiguous and has been variously interpreted by modern scholars. If it implies that the sun was reckoned among the most ancient native gods known as DEITIES, which we may render as indigenous gods, it proves that among the Romans the worship of the sun was of immemorial antiquity, for the De Indigetes belonged to the oldest stratum of the Roman religion. On this interpretation, which is the most obvious and natural one, the indigenous sun, Sol Indiges, is analogous to the indigenous Jupiter. So the sun is their god. This is why I couldn't figure it out at first. Why people were saying, Jesus is the Father or Christ is the Father. And I'm like, clearly the scripture says he's the son of the Father. So where are y'all getting this from? Because y'all are worshiping the sun, and the sun is your father. Because this god Jupiter, who they say that the soul indigenous is in a line with, Jupiter is called the father of the gods. See this painting here? That's what he's called. That's why he's sitting up there like quote unquote Zeus. These are all the same deity per se. They're the father of the gods, right? Then you see this Jupiter statue here. The reason I'm showing you this is boom, I want you to look at this. You see this painting of the Adam and God, the white Adam, the white God? That's Jupiter, y'all. That's Jupiter. So all this stuff is paganism, man. That's where you get all your because all those quote unquote planets are just stars. You dig what I'm saying, y'all? And what they have done is created a religion out of the creation. Moreover, the ancient Roman family of the Aureli, who are said to have been of Sabine origin, were believed by the ancients to take their name from the sun, which in the Sabine language appears to have been called Ausul. Hence, the original name of the family was not Aureli, but Ausuli. On the account of their worship of the sun, the family were granted by the Roman state a place in which they could sacrifice to the luminary. So the Roman state was down with worshiping the sun. Are you listening, family? I'm not, I know I seem like I'm going a little deep in this, but we got to get to where did this sun worship, this daytime, all this reverence of the sun come from? It's been embedded so deep, even brothers in the truth can't even shake it. This is what I'm trying to break these dang strongholds. It says the Roman state gave them place to do sacrifice. Why you think the bank is closed on Sunday? Why you think the liquor store is closed on Sunday? Why you think most places of business are closed on Sunday? To give reverence to the sun god, because that's their god. That's their Sabbath. Peep game, family. And it went all the way into the church, man. I'm trying to tell you, if they can get you in your mind, in your heart, and in your spirit to follow what's wrong and think it's right, that's how you got deceived. It may well have been the shrine in which bygone days the Roman state had assigned to the Sabine family of Aurelia or Acili as a place where they could sacrifice to the sun from whom they took their name. Further, there was an ancient temple of the sun in or near the Circus Maximus. When a plot to assassinate Nero on the circus had been detected, special honors were paid to the sun in this his old sanctuary, the sanctuary where they praised the sun. Because he was supposed to have revealed the designs of the conspirators. On the gable of the temple, there was an image of the sun. Look at this thing again. This is talking about Nero. They haven't changed their guys. Jeremiah 2:11. For it was thought that the right image of the God who traverses the open sky should be placed under a roof. It is said that Orpheus did not honor Dionysus, but that he regarded the sun, which he identified with Apollo, as the greatest of the gods, and he used to rise by night and ascend the Mount Pangaeum that he might catch the first glimpse of the rising luminary. The Cynic philosopher Crates also identified Apollo with the sun. This is from Sun Worship and Antiquity. This is from GiffordLectures.org. They've been down with the sun. They've been keeping it 100 with the sun, man. S-U-N. Talking about Apollo. Let's get to Apollo in the scriptures. Revelations 9 and 11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. This is what they changed the Statue of Liberty into. It came from an original statue of Apollo. Y'all peep game, man. That's the angel of the bottomless pit. It's connected to sun worship. So why wouldn't they want you to worship on the Shabbat? So you can worship on the day of the God of the bottomless pit. If the Most High said go left, the enemy said go right. If the Most High said go up, the enemy said go down. The Most High said stop, the enemy said run full speed. If the Most High said that the hallowed day, the sacred day, was the seventh day, the enemy said it was the first. Y'all don't get it. Let's get to the Witches' Sabbath. Britannica, Witches' Sabbath, nocturnal gathering of witches, a colorful and intriguing part of the lore surrounding them in Christian European tradition. A lot of y'all don't understand that there's a such thing as Christian Wiccans and Christian witches. See, pastors back in my day, anyway, used to preach about this stuff. And I'm not gonna say I completely understood, but I understand a whole lot more now. Oh yes. The concept dates from the mid-14th century when it first appeared in the Inquisition records, although revels and feasts mentioned by such classical authors as Romus Apuleius and Petronius Arbiter may have served as inspiration. Favorite locations include Brockren and the Harz Mountains, Germany, Bald Mountain near Kiev, Russia, the Blokula in Sweden, the Department of Puy in Auvergne, France. All these, France, Germany, Russia, Sweden. These are the lands of Edom, the lands of Esau, the so-called what? White man. And what are they over there doing? Witchcraft. From old country. Yeah. Typical dates included the true traditional Druid festivals on the eve of May Day, April 30th, and All Hallows Eve, October 31st. That's coming up soon. Pray over your households, family. And the seasonal festivals of winter, February 2, spring, June 23rd, summer, August 1st, and fall, December 21. So basically, this is the Wiccan wheel of holidays, y'all. That's what you're looking at here, the Wiccan wheel of holidays. This is what they did. They worship nature. Like Paul says in Romans 1, man, Romans 1 break down what these Romans doing, bro. It really break it down. And then let's get to this picture. Now, I'm gonna ask my Christian believers and my believers that just may identify as believers. Why do the holidays of the Christian church match with the Wiccan will of witches holidays? Why do they? I'm gonna give you the short answer is because what they did was take those holidays and just slap the name Jesus on it and keep it pushing. Because I'm gonna read some of these holidays next, and I'm not gonna read what the Christians do. Well, I know, because I used to do it. You dig what I'm saying? But I'm gonna read what the witches' website say they do on just 3 of these days. We're gonna start with Christmas. We're gonna see. We're not gonna use no scripture as far as whatever people twist to try to make it holy. We're gonna see if you're a witch, or if you're looking at a witch, or you're studying some course and it's going into Wiccan culture, right? And what they do on these days. And I want you to see, how is it any different if you're doing it and you're a believer of a whole different God? Let's read. Yule, aka Christmas. Yule, the winter solstice, is the time of great symbolism and power. It marks the return of the sun when the days finally begin to get a little longer, because the longest night is like right before December 25th. And at that day, the sun begins. I think 3 days later after that, the 28th, is when the sun begins to have longer days. As you know, the winter, the days are shorter. In the spring and summer, the days are longer. So they're worshiping the creation, the sun especially. The winter solstice is a time of reflection during the darkest and longest night of the year. Says, why not take a moment to offer up a prayer on Yule? Try a different devotional each day for the next 12 days to give you food for thought during the holiday season. This is a witch website I'm reading from, y'all. Said for 12 days. 12 days of Christmas, my true love gave to me. No, those 12 days are the 12 zodiac signs. This is all based on stars and paganism, man. That's the horoscopes, tarot cards, all that. It's witchcraft. The first thing you'll need is a Yule log. Yule is one of the most important festivals in the old heathen calendar. The heathen calendar, that Wiccan one. As the days drew short and the nights grew long, there were celebrations as well as tinged fear in the air. Fear in the cold, crisp air. The Yule festival featured evergreens being brought inside as sympathetic magic on 12 holy nights of Yule. This was the night when ancestors visited from the other world, just like Halloween. I don't have that in here, but look at Halloween. That's why they do sacrifices. Yeah. Look how many people and children go missing on Halloween. You don't believe me. And gods and spirits upon phantom horses rode through the night sky. This is talking about Christmas though. Gods and spirits among phantom horses rode through the night sky, led by All-Father Odin upon his 8-legged steeded Sifnir, leading the legendary wild hunt. No one wanted to be caught out alone on the road on this night, as the ghostly hunting party ripped through the night sky, carrying the souls of the dead to the other world. What does that sound like? Somebody riding through the night air in a chariot pulled by 8 horses. They brought evergreens inside, such as mistletoe, holly, and ivy. As evergreens were the only plant to live through the harsh winter, people believed that those hardy shrubs could ward off evil spirits. This is why they decorate the halls with holly. They also made wreaths for the doors and windows to keep the darkness at bay, and even brought down full trees to bring inside hopes of its magical protection as they warmed themselves by the fire of the Yule log. Yeah. His 8 reindeer harkened back to the 8 legs of his steep Sleipnir. Cookies with milk for Santa remind us of offerings left out to placate the household spirits. Just like Day of the Dead, they have a version of that also in Indian culture, where they actually dig up the person and give them food and cigarettes and drinks and stuff. How the hell is this biblical? A tradition still continue in Sweden, where milk and porridge are left out for the household tomte, and boots are filled with hay, are reminiscent of stockings hung up by children to receive gifts. This is from Yule, Odin, and Santa Claus, and from a site, Other Religions, Paganism, and Wicca Yule Rituals, and from another site, How to Celebrate Yule Rituals and Pagan History of the Winter Solstice. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this 2 more times. You could name a strip club exotic dancing, but girls get naked in there. Okay? You can name it Christmas, but it's still Yule. And why would you want a mass of Christ? Mass means death. And as we see here, nothing in there has nothing to do with Christ. Let's go to Ostara, aka Easter. Many historians believe that Ostara, so Ostara is your Easter, hails from an ancient Germanic pagan celebration honoring the goddess of spring and dawn, Ostara. If you have ever practiced Christianity, then some of these traditions will surely be familiar to you. This is from, again, a witch website. I didn't go to a Christian website. But how similar is this stuff? We're going to go to 5 things. Coloring eggs. You may think dyeing eggs is child play, but many Ostara traditions include eggs, a universal sign of fertility and abundance. Yes, because they actually did rituals at that time where a woman, excuse me, would deal with a man. Actually, they used to have orgies on this day. The woman would get impregnated by a man in March. She would have the baby in 9 months later, in December. 3 months later, the baby would be a 3-month old. They would sacrifice the baby on the altar and do the same thing again. And this was what they did over and over and over. It has to do with Helios Gamos. I went over this before. It's called Helios Gamos. This is why you see a lot of these stars and actresses, the women getting with the same men. She'll date this guy, then this guy. Then you look up, she'll date this guy and have a baby for this guy and do this guy and have this guy and that guy. And you'll be like, dang, like, man, with all these men and all these guys, they're famous. They can go get a wife from another country or a wife that nobody know about. Regular, regular girl that's probably God fearing. No, they all mess with the same shit. Helios Gamos. So that's where the coloring eggs comes from. When you coloring the egg, that's the blood dripping on the baby on the altar. See, Planned Parenthood wasn't the first time that they were sacrificing children, which Planned Parenthood is the #1 killer of black people. Let's get to number 2. It says, write your own prayer. Pen your own short prayer honoring the blessings of Mother Earth and spring. Place it on your altar or share it with your sisters. So, because in pagan, a lot of the pagan things, the women were the leads. The women were the leads, the priestess. So, what does that look like? A society with the women out front and the men in back. Looks like what we getting into now, don't it? Baking Ostara bread and hot cross buns. It says you can also bake hot cross buns, which are symbolic of the Celtic cross and the pagan wheel of the year. Did I not talk about the cross and that wicked wheel of the year? That's what the hot cross buns are about. Doesn't that sound familiar, family? Create a springtime bouquet. So when you see those girls with those statues, even with the flowers around the head, that was a Roman thing. Look at Wisdom of Solomon 2:8. For the ungodly said, but not aright, let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Yeah. So let's get to the last one, 5. The hare and the egg. In one folk tale, all of the animals of the forest were preparing a great party, and with it, the arrival of a great goddess. Y'all remember that Disney, that famous scene? I believe, was it Snow White? She was out in the field, all the animals were flying around her and loving on her. Yeah. You see how they indoctrinate us? I'm telling y'all, man, it's about nature worship and woman worship at the end of the day. I covered that in my video with feminism. Yeah, because Israel went astray doing this. We got to step out of it. In anticipation of her arrival, the animals scurried to find suitable gifts for the goddess, everything from the mundane to the absolutely wondrous. So basically, the story of the hare went and was looking for something to bring to the goddess, and all the hare found was an egg. And again, it has to do with fertility, because what does the rabbit represent? The rabbit, Playboy didn't choose the rabbit for no reason. It represents fertility. It represents, you having sex. You dig? And reproduction, the whole procreation. A rabbit and an egg. And that's why you have it in the sanctuary, right? Of the Christian church. But look, this is what they write. I'm reading what they write. Even though these witch rules are still prevalently practiced today, it's unfortunate they've been appropriated and disfigured by the Christian faith that bastardized from all they once represented. No, they haven't changed much, because as you see, there's no Christ in any of that. Any of that. They didn't mention it once. But you see the same thing going on in church. Do you see why you can't tell the difference between the clean and the unclean? And you tell the difference between the church and the world? You see the difference now? This is for the people that say that. You can't tell the difference. It's the same thing. It's like saying, I'm going to a strip club. Well, I'm going to an exotic dance studio. Oh, Negro, potato. So we got the ads for that. We got the how to celebrate Ostara and your guide to Ostara 5 rituals in the description box. Let's get to the last one. Father's Day, LITHA, the summer solstice, aka celebrated at the time of Father's Day. Nearly every agricultural society has marked the high point of summer in some way, shape, or form. On this date, usually around June 21 or 22, the sun reaches its zenith in the sky. In fact, the word solstice is from the Latin word solstitium, which literally translates to sun stand still. The travels of the sun were marked and recorded. Stone circles such as Stonehenge were oriented to highlight the rising of the sun on the day of the summer solstice. The Romans honored this time sacred to Juno, the wife of Jupiter and the goddess of women and childbirth. Her name gives us the month of June. So this is why you see all those weddings in June, y'all. This is why. Get married or look it up, because my mom was once a wedding planner, and I know this for a fact. Look it up. Get married or handfasted, whether for a year and a day, as long as love shall last. Midsummer is an auspicious time to begin a partnership or marriage. So yeah, that hot girl summer stuff, yeah, that's what but they're married and given in marriage, as it says, until the flood came. It's another version of it. Apollo, Greek, the son of Zeus by Leto. Apollo was a multifaceted god. In addition to being the god of the sun, he also presided over music, medicine, and healing. He was at one point identified with Helios, that's the sun. As the worship of him spread throughout the Roman Empire into British Isles, he took on many of the aspects of the Celtic deities and was seen as a god of the sun and of healing. Sun and healing. Father's Day, their father is the sun, not the S-O-N, which the S-O-N shouldn't be your father. The Father in heaven should be your father. But this is where it goes to. This is and I was reading this article, and it was acting like they got it all from Greek this and Greek. They really came from Greeks, so the Greeks. The Greeks learned it from the Africans, the Kemet, okay? They learned it from Mizraim. That's Ham's son. That was Egypt. That's who they learned it from. Some of you brothers going back to Kemet. The Most High didn't want us worshiping that either. Just because they black, they wasn't us. They enslaved us too. Stop worshiping the oppressor's gods, man. Sun gods and sun goddesses are celebrated at this time, as well as father gods. In Wiccan and some other neo-pagan traditions, the solstices are seen as the holly and the oak king battling for supremacy, with the holly king being victorious at the summer solstice and the oak king winning at Yule. So the oak king basically represents half of the year, from the winter solstice, Christmas, unto the 6th month. And the other one, the Holly King, represents the fall months, from quote unquote Father's Day up until Christmas, the end of the year. So yeah, I got those links in the description box. Let me finish this out. But you see, y'all, these pagans, these traditions that they're keeping line up exactly with what the world is doing today. This is why this is important. The devil ain't in the details. The truth is in the details. This worship of the sun, S-U-N, is out of line. Out of line, y'all. This is how deep it goes. You got brothers in the truth talking about the day starts with the sun. You got people talking about, oh no, the Most High changed the Sabbath to Sunday. You dig what I'm saying? You got pagans to this day still practicing the worship of Apollo and Helios. Do y'all see how, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun because they're still worshiping it. So these are the end time prophecies just to show you more important how time is. Time is very important. Understanding of the time. Daniel 7:23, 25 through 27. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all the kingdoms. And just to let y'all know, the fourth kingdom is going to be the one ruling when Yasha returns. And shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. That's what I was telling you. The strong nations treading in pieces the other nations. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Oh yeah, the LGBT, all these things I've been showing that they've been showing are biblical and cool to do when the Most High says otherwise. It says, it shall wear out the saints of the Most High. What do you think slavery was? Saints mean Israelites. But here it says, and think to change times and laws. They changing all types of laws from the LMNOP community, daylight savings time, leap year. What is a leap year in the scriptures, man? It's like the old saying, the old proverb, they'll cut off 2 inches from a blanket and sew it on the other end of the blanket. I think they have a longer blanket. You adding to and taking away from. It don't work like that, family. It don't work like that. The Most High put it in place. That's why they got to add and take away from and add an extra month. So people confused. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it until the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Obey his word, y'all. Not just obey tradition and what you was told. Obey his word. All kingdoms shall do this. And it says in Isaiah 60 what's going to happen to those who don't. There's a punishment. But I'm getting the last verse. This is the reason for this entire lesson. Jubilees 6:35. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto thee. It is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, the 364 days a year. Lest they forget the feast of the covenant, the holy days, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, the holidays, after their error and after their ignorance. And let me tell y'all this, family, their holidays ain't just days. Their days come with worshiping their God. Just like our days come with worshiping our power, their days come with worshiping their power. So people, yeah, I don't believe, and I'm just gonna go over there and get a plate. I don't believe, and I'm just gonna go over there and chill. What's the difference? You participating. You got to treat this thing like the drug game. If I know they about to be raided, the Most High, let's just say he's the SWAT team. I know they about to be raided. They over there smoking, drinking, selling bricks. And I'm like, they're my people. I just want to be around them. You could be around them any day of the year, but you know they gonna get raided. You gonna go over there on these high holy days, their high holy days, and you gonna get raided, man. And the cops say you can't tell the cops, oh, no, man, I was just over here chilling, man. I wasn't even participating. You're there, man. And you are participating because You're part of it. You're fellowshipping with them. That's why I say you ain't got to go over there the day of. You can go the day after, the day before, and chill with your people. You got days off. You got 52 Sabbaths a year to chill with them. Do what the Most High say, or, be left to your own demise from your own decisions. With that being said, we're going to move on to section 6. Shalom, family.
Southside Melissa.
Time is a business, proud of the second. No lie, I don't chase. Why you tired trying to catch? Over lust, seen these niggas. Open fire down the text. From the driver of the ship to Beretta 9 Sims. Outside to the hem. So much living out the hood. Palm berries carry niggas. All over Delilah's good. So I told these baiters before the first hour. These birds don't need us for building birdhouses. You should've left on the corner. Now you the owner of a broken heart. A real wife is paper from the Lord. And won't knock you out but know it's all. Wanna hurt and try to hate cause the feeling gone. Get the for Samarian right at City Hall. Make a big difference when the kids involved. Don't make no sense at all. Real nigga talk.
Armageddon music.
I must confess addiction to only the best of our women. Not the vixens who stress independent. Stretch with attention, Lord bless and forgive them. They be giving checks by the system. Hair bundles in a mess of expenses. Turn around, taking more pics than Pinterest. They wanna gossip about their man to a friend list. All them likes and love emojis ain't deposits, boo. Doors all kinds of dudes who inbox you. You believe them cosmopolitan articles. Exes a bunch of clowns with a carnival. Sound like an arsenal, love a battlefield. Call these types